Okay, let's start.
Anybody looked into the factory, is there any form?
എല്ലാത്തിനും വാലിഡേഷൻ ഫോം ഉണ്ട്. എനിക്ക് ഏതാണ് സ്പീച്ച്
Level 2 first speech.
അങ്ങനെ പറ്റില്ല.
Maybe login ചെയ്യാം.
Okay. Okay, good afternoon everyone. Welcome to the Toastmasters meeting, March 1st. Today is March 1st, a new month. It's a new month in our journey of Toastmasters. So looking forward to number of productive meetings this month. So today we have two speakers. We have two veteran Toastmasters today, Priya and Roy giving speeches. So looking forward to that. So to get started, I would like to invite our President George for the welcome speech.
Good afternoon, Toastmasters. Yeah, today is, as Josman mentioned, is a new beginning because we are going to have two groups and going to have meetings every Sunday. So that will give more opportunity to more people to participate and give speeches. Basically, I want to mention 2 points. One is about our committee. Basically, everybody needs to take responsibility and part of the committee. Definitely, we have a few positions open for the upcoming committee, treasurer and membership. And definitely in May we will have one more committee because to shadow the other committee. So that make it efficient and share the workload, get the opportunity to lead. So that will be there. So everybody come forward and take the responsibility, be part of the committee. Second thing is, what I want to mention is, 2 weeks ago I gave a speech on my final speech, and last week I was going through that speech. Then I could find out, okay, that was not the way I wanted to deliver that speech. Anyway, I could find out many mistakes. So basically, after giving the speech, if you can go through the video, definitely that will help us to improve ourselves. But if we wait for a feedback from the third person, there is a limitation. We may not be able to give the complete feedback. Always have monitoring or see the video so that we will get some idea about how we deliver the speech and or what mistakes we did. That will help us to improve next time. So that said, today I would like to introduce Toastmaster of the day today, Josman. We all got inspired of his icebreaker speech. So he is a eloquent speaker. So I would like to invite Josman to lead today's Toastmasters meeting. Welcome, Josman.
So without further delay, I think we'll get into the role exploration. To start with, I call timer, Saji. Please explain the timer role.
Thank you for giving me the opportunity to serve as your timer today. As we all know, that's an important function that gives you the feedback of how much time you organized your speech within. So, as we already know, or most of you know, that icebreaker speeches are 5 to 7.
There is no icebreaker. 5 to 7 minutes.
No icebreaker. Alright, so then the speeches are 5 to 7 minutes, regular speeches, and table topics are
2 minutes.
1 to 2 minutes. Yeah. 1 minute we will give the green, yellow at 1:30 and 2 red.
Evaluation 3 minutes.
Evaluations are 3 minutes. Thank you.
Next, topic master, accountant, Joy.
Thank you. I always have my scripts ready on my phone, so it's easy for me to read. I am more confident in reading than talking, because I don't have to prepare anything. So today I'll be serving as a role of accountant. So my role as an accountant is to count the number of times each speaker replies the word, the client's words like so, like, etc. Also, I will be also for double words such as and, you, etc. I will keep count of each occurrence. During the evaluation portion of the session, I will provide a report for each speaker, highlighting any client words use that frequent, and also highlight anyone who has clean report with the 0 marks. That means nobody is in that. Another thing is you have to swallow the R. This report helps each speaker to identify words they use frequently so they can practice and follow the next speech. If you want to review each exact account, please let me know. Thank you so much.
So next I would like to invite topic master Jimmy to explain the table topic session.
Hi, thank you. So I have prepared some very simple questions about impromptu kind of questions. I don't have a particular so nothing else to say, right?
It is going to be 2 minutes.
Okay, so you read 2 minutes.
Okay, next I'd like to invite George again as general evaluator.
Grammarian is on there.
I'm playing the
Yeah.
piano.
My role as general evaluator is to supervise the evaluation portion of the session. Evaluations are critical for encouraging all of us to progress. I will introduce each speech evaluator to deliver their evaluation. The purpose of the speech evaluation is to provide useful, constructive feedback on the speech and on the speaker's delivery. Speech evaluators can use various techniques, including the use of messages to keep the focus on behaviors. For example, I observed how passionately you inspired the audience with your personal story, and the feedback sandwich consisting of describing areas where the speaker excelled, followed by suggestions for areas of improvement, and ending with words of encouragement. I will then solicit reports from the timer and accountant and grammarian. Finally, I will present an overall evaluation of the session. For example, did we start on time? Was everything set up and prepared properly? How did each of the role holders perform their duties today, etc. Identifying what went well and where we can improve is important to ensure sessions are as productive and effective as possible. Thank you.
So next grammarian. So I'm playing the grammarian role also today. So the word of the day is fungible. F-U-N-G-I-B-L-E. Fungible. So the meaning is replaceable or interchangeable. Being flexible also. Being fungible. An example is oil is a fungible commodity and its prices are determined in the global market. So fungible. As a grammarian, I will give recognition to anyone who uses the word of the day. I will also report any awkward usage or grammatical errors such as incomplete sentences, sentences that change direction in the midstream, etc. And I will give the grammarian report during the evaluation session. Thank you. Okay, so let's move on to the main section of this meeting, the speaker speech section. So we are going to go with Roy's speech first because Smita is not here. So I'd like to invite Deepu, evaluator of Roy, to introduce the speaker.
Good afternoon. Thank you, Toastmaster, for this opportunity to introduce our speaker one, Roy Job. So as Toastmasters, one of the main objectives is to see how we improve as leaders. So Roy has selected dynamic leadership as his track for his Toastmaster journey. Today, he is going to deliver his first speech, Project 1, in the level 2. And the objective of the speech is to understand the leadership style. There are different leadership styles each leader follows. So today the objective is to understand the different leadership styles and then to identify one's own style to pursue. So with that, let me welcome Roy to the stage.
Thank you, Devi. Thank you, Toastmaster. Good afternoon. I spent time reading a book called How to Win Friends and Influence People. And I think I got this book around 2 years back. That book basically written by Dale Carnegie, and he went through numerous biographies. He has read numerous biographies. He did interview hundreds of people, well-known people, to come up with his strategy, to develop a strategy of how to deal with people. So it actually helped me to deal with my subordinates or my superiors. Great level. So I would like to explain a little bit of some of the strategies probably to you today. I expected a little bit more audience, but we have only few. So I in fact started this course of speaking last time when I started with 2 points. One is avoid criticism. I think the audience are relatively new, so I need to recap what I did now. So avoid criticism, because criticism will spoil a person's pride, and possibly they will come back with resentment, and it is not going to change that person's attitudes towards a particular matter, right? So today I'm going to tell how we can criticize constructively. So back when I joined my first company in 2004, exactly after a year, in 2005, my manager called me, and he called me and said, okay, this is our appraisal meeting. So I went there, so excited and tense, because then for the first time I'm hearing an appraisal discussion. So he said, Roy, you have done a good job. You learned the technologies well, you were able to help your colleagues. Then he said, but. The moment I heard but, I know whatever he was telling, it is just bluffing, it is not the real. Even though he was probably, he did a good job of, he would have thought that pricing will help me to come back to senses, and then probably I could hear the criticism in a better way. But the way I perceive it is completely different, because when I hear the word but, the sentences whatever prior to that was gone, and I went into a defensive mode. Okay. Now, after reading this book, I realized how he would have done it better. So I'll tell you. It is very easy. It is just changing a 3-letter word, but to replace this 3-letter word from but to and. That will make dramatic change. So he was telling, suppose he was telling like this, Roy, you have done a good job, you learned the technologies well, you helped your team members. And if you improve your timely communication to your clients and you do this, there is no resentment. I am happy to hear that. Just a 3-letter word will change the mode of the conversation and everybody will be happy. So there are a lot many techniques in the book, probably you could read it, so that you could better communicate to your peers or your kids. I tried this in our home and I always get a better result than telling the but word. It's clearly visible, the resentment when I say, if I accompany with a but and if I change the word but with an. So that's the first thing. So second skill I wanted to the leadership style which I usually exhibit and which helped me is giving sincere appreciation. If you don't give appreciation, I would say it is a grave sin. It is just like food, just like water or air. Everybody needs appreciation. And last time I said, if somebody did a research and found out that the reason for running away wives or running away husbands is lack of appreciation. So whenever you are dealing with people, you try to give sincere appreciation. It's not from the mouth. Give the sincere appreciation that will help the other person to improve dramatically. Third thing, from my leadership perspective, what I do differently is I don't command people. I don't like to command. Even though I am a leader, I position well so that I can command. But I don't generally do that. Rather, I ask questions. If somebody is coming with a product which is not as expected as I think, I would ask, how you could have done this better? I just ask a few questions. And that person will come back and say, okay, this is what I could have done it better. Without me even telling that, he will probably come back and say, this is what I needed. And there's one more item, but there are a few more items. Probably I'll come back with next session to how to basically motivate people and how effectively you can communicate your criticism and that. Thank you very much.
It was a very nice speech, Roy. Especially the subject is something that touches all of us. Work, life, giving and getting performance feedback is one of the thorniest communication issues where you will test the limits of the communication. So we all must have gone through that at some point in our life. So it was really good. Thank you. All right. So let's move on to the next speech. Next speech is by Priya. And I would like to invite Smita to introduce the speaker.
So Priya is giving, I'd like to introduce Priya. Priya is working in J&J and Priya lives in Hillsborough with her family, 3 kids and husband. And this is Priya's 7th speech, and it's about, the topic is my first love. Do we have that book today?
Yeah, I have.
So,
Good afternoon, everyone. Okay. My first love. Any guess what it can be? Chocolates. 9 out of 10 people love chocolate. And the 10th person is always lying. Can you imagine world without chocolate? Anyone in this room who don't like chocolates? I guess everybody likes chocolate. To me, anything, if it's made out of chocolate, is good. Yes, I said, anything, if it is made out of chocolate, is good for me. Let's go back and see the history about chocolates. The evidence shows that, or the traces shows that it was first found by Almas, modern day Mexico. They believe that cocoa seeds are the gift from Quetzal, which is god of wisdom. They also believe that it gives strength to the drinker so that they become godly. The cocoa seeds had so much value in olden days that it was used as currency. Also, if you see the history, we can see traces back from 450 BC. In those days, it was used mostly as a drink. They mix it with spices or corn puree. The word chocolate is derived from the Spanish word chocolate. So, how is chocolate made or chocolate made? As I mentioned, it grows in a tree. Yes, the chocolate grows in a tree. The cocoa seeds needs to be fermented, dried, cleaned, and roasted to make chocolates. Another interesting fact about cocoa tree is that it grows near equator, 20 degrees north and south of the equator. Did you know that cocoa tree was grown in Kerala?
yes.
Yes, it is grown in Kerala. I still remember during my childhood at my mom's house, we climb on the cocoa tree, get the cocoa seeds and eat it. To me, chocolate is a special. It's very special. It's not just like any food. It's very special. It takes me to the past, my childhood. It takes me to the present now. And it takes me to the future in terms of anticipation. The people say there are good and bad health benefits with chocolates. Consuming too much of chocolate, unconstrained chocolate, without proper activity can have negative impact to your health. Obesity, heart disease, cholesterol, name them. I also mentioned that in olden days it was considered as the gift from God. Later, when the Europeans came to Mexico and invaded and it was brought to Europe, they added sugar and other milk products. So it became very popular among the higher society in the beginning and later with common people. So what makes chocolates unhealthy? Modern manufacturers add oils, fats, powdered milk are some of the things that are added into the real cocoa powder to make it unhealthy. There are different types of chocolates. Black chocolate or dark chocolate, milk chocolate, semi-sweetened chocolate, unsweetened chocolate, even chocolate liquor. So, how are we differentiating or finding the difference between these types of chocolates? Researchers found that the raw or unprocessed chocolate or semi-processed chocolate contains vitamins and minerals equivalent to green tea, which also has lots of antioxidants which are very good for your health. When you add the sugar, the oil and other fats, that's when it becomes unhealthy. The researchers also found that it can reduce cholesterol, heart disease by 10% if you consume moderate amount of raw chocolate. So, next time when you, and one of the other benefits that I would like to say is it helps your skin, hair, teeth, etc. That's why it's popular among ladies. I want to conclude by saying that when you buy chocolates for your loved ones next time, do your research and buy the pure chocolate as possible. You must have heard so much things about chocolate. So I thought, let me bring some chocolates to you so that you can enjoy. Thank you for listening.
So Priya, what's that Sam's gift for Valentine's?
But actually, pure cocoa is very bitter.
Very bitter, yeah. And that's why you can have
70% cocoa and 90%.
90% is the best available.
I think he came just for that.
So this is a little more than 70%.
I was impressed. Okay, he was here. I think here.
My personal right.
Did Dad send him here to find out?
No. My kids, like, they heard the speech, right, from our life. So he was like, as soon as I say my first love, my elder son will be chocolate.
All right, that was an excellent speech, Priya. A sweet chocolatey speech. Okay, next up, we will move into the table topic session. So I'd like to invite Ginny to chair the table topic session.
Thank you. So I will be chairing the table topic session. I do have some very simple questions, nothing to worry about. So who's going to be first?
It's encouraging and self.
There's no class, nothing.
So topic is talk about your mom, a quality that you must love about man. First of all, thank you. Thank you for giving an opportunity to speak about my mom. So one quality that I like in my mom is prayers. Even from my childhood, I always felt that what I have achieved is mostly because of their prayers. And the one that I think he has instilled in us. Starting from even when we used to go for table tennis tournaments or for prayer for the exams, or even now, I always tell her to pray for me when I want something specific to happen. So she said once, hey, I understand when you were a small kid that I need to pray. Now you need to pray for yourself. But I always tell her that your prayers have more power. And that is actually a truth that I always experienced. Thank you. So that is the most important and that most liked one. The second one is about our attitude to face any circumstances. Because whenever we feel that, again, it's a challenging one, she faces it. Though I think inside she might be feeling that, it is a difficult one. But outside, she always feels that this is something that we could achieve by prayer. So compared with that, I think it has helped me and my family a lot. And that is something that we are trying to see how it could be for our kids too. How I think we put the prayer. And that one thing that I really liked about this community is the collective prayers that we are seeing here. So I personally felt that my mother really enjoyed, I think, being in this community. And unfortunately, I think she is not very keen on coming here. She felt that she was much happier to go to a church when she does not need to depend on anyone. So she does not feel that she can come here because she has to be driven here and we both are really busy. But anyway, I think thank you for a good topic. I think an opportunity to speak about man. Thank you.
About the prayer and attitude and all those qualities about your mom. So who's going to be the next one?
Okay, I want to remind everyone that the word of the day is fungible.
Mom is someone who is never fungible from her life.
Then you can tell that be fungible and then be there, no?
Next one.
You already get a chance, right?
Okay, yeah.
Now I want.
So thank you, Jayant.
What makes you smile? That is a good topic. I think I heard that I like to smile. Generally, I smile, especially when I go to office. I smile, and of course, when there is a positive outcome, and when we see people we like, we smile. Definitely, smile has a lot of impacts. It can change the mood of other people. Have you ever thought about it can spoil a day for a person, if we expect a smile, or if when another person, even if us also, if we show a grumpy face, it can spoil a day for the other person. Very simple. And if you expect a smile from another person, and if you don't get it, it can completely change our day. This can happen when we drive also. When somebody misbehave or honk at us, it can affect our the way we respond to various situations. So I think it is always better to have a smile rather than a grumpy face. So we should keep that in mind. That will help the whole office environment or family environment too. I think, purposefully we should try to smile, and I think that's all.
That was very nice, and I have always seen Chetan smiling. Next one is Vida.
Searching that word fungible.
Oh,
The second one maybe is here. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to come up. So the question is, what would you be doing on a snowy day? Snow days are days that I enjoy looking at the snow, because as a child growing in India, we had never the opportunity to see snow. So snow was more like the wonderland. And then finally when I landed here, seeing it for real was like, okay, some imaginary thing has happened for real. Snow, it has got so many benefits that now when we don't have snow is only when I think about the drawbacks of not having snow. So I think I've used this topic to talk about a little bit on that. So that's my concern right now, is like the snow is something that I heard this from a Russian colleague at work. It's like comes and makes all those viruses and germs around, it just like makes them dormant. So it's more like a cleansing that happens in the environment. But sadly, if this is how global warming is going to be, that we're going to get less and less snow, we just have to be more prepared to be able to face those germs that could never, nature could not put it down into the earth, into its dormant state. Coming back, on a snowy day, typically with kids wanting to go and play in the snow, I just have to constantly be watchful about making them come in on time so that they don't end up with a cold that I have to face. The negative end of being the mom, but also being the looking at my husband trying to clear the snow. I feel like doing my part and trying to help out when the snow is easy to pick up, than wait for the next day. So all that goes in my mind is to enjoy the snow from inside, but also to help clean up to be ready to go to work back the next day. Thank you.
it's nice to hear about the medical facts about snow too. That's nice. We didn't know that how to kill the germs and yeah, that's why we have corona.
Maybe because of global warming.
Yeah. Ron.
Ready?
Welcome, Ron.
So, I'm supposed to talk about my favorite song. That's easy, but
You also sing?
I know. I like the song from Padayappa. So the song, it's nothing. So songs really calm me. In fact, last time Jimmy was talking about the meditation. So hearing music is a meditation, right? So the kind of music which the song which I mentioned as a Parayaka song, it gives me a kind of energy which will drive me when I was like very sad. My mood was bad. So, as I said, the songs which is more fast and give me energy, basically I like. So, that's it. Thank you very much.
So I hope you're trying song as a meditation too, right?
Yes, yes.
Good that it's working. Next one.
My fungible role.
Yeah. Yeah.
So welcome, Sajidatan.
So the topic given to me is that the qualities that you look for in a friend. Always, when you think about a friend, it's somebody who is your soul keeper, or somebody who, if it is such a very close friend. But in most cases, that is to the other extreme, right? But what do you look in a regular friend, or a casual friend, or somebody whom you like to be treated as a friend? Of course, a friend is who look for your betterment, or who is a well-wisher for you. He shouldn't be a backstabber. Right? That is what the least that you would expect from a friend. There are so many things that you can wish to have in a friend. But as we all know, there is no ideal friend anyway. So what's the least that we can look for in a friend? Somebody who should be happy for you, and someone who will not let you down in times of need. That is the best. That will be the minimum that a friend should do. Even in our circumstances, in normal circumstances, if we are a friend to someone, even if you are not going to be a very closely bonded friend, even then you should do this minimum level of friendship, the qualities in a friend. That's all. Thank you.
That was very nice of you. Next one. Yeah, it's going to be very easy.
The topic given to me is, what do you do to relieve stress? So there are certain ways that you can relieve your stress, right? Last week's topic, her topic was also one of them. It is meditation. Some people who hear music, which are soothing, and also some people do dancing or any other activities like hiking or anything like that. To me, how I relieve my stress is by hearing music. I love music. It doesn't have to be like Malayalam or English or anything like that. Just pure music. Even Carnatic music I love to listen. Recently, my daughter introduced me to Korean music. So it's popular among the teens these days. So first, when she was talking to me about the Korean music, I was like, you don't even understand what is the meaning. So without knowing the meaning, maybe it is not good. But recently I started hearing that, and I'm actually seeing that it is good as the other music. So listening to music is a way to relieve my stress.
Chocolate, you want help?
Chocolate also.
But it doesn't have melodies and all, just like a Malayalam song.
Yeah, Malayalam.
Same.
But it's more fast now.
You like, no, you like one class.
I used to like, but now I know.
Yourself is a role model.
I don't have any specific role model, but actually observing everybody and taking the good thing out of that particular person. So yeah, if I take in this room, I take John Chapman. His dedication and passion towards this Toastmaster. So many times I was actually reluctant and going back. I don't want to come today, but he is insisting me to come. Why are you not signing up? So that's a good quality actually, following up. Also, Sadicha, the way he speaks, like, it's very calm. I never saw him getting irritated or any high pitch talking or anything. Always he's calm. Whenever I met him on the bus, till then he's saying all the time. So that's another one good quality. Yeah, like if you take in sports, I like Michael Phelps, so his dedication to training and all those things. And Cristiano Ronaldo, all those things. Yeah, that's all.
Thank you. Actually, what Chetan said was right. We can learn from everybody, right? There is something positive about everyone. Like Chetan said, Georgette always smiles. So that's a quality. Roy always smiles. This speech is good. Chetan's speech is good. Priya's speech is very awesome. Speaker teaches very well. Everybody has a positive. Chetan's speech is very nice too. So we can learn from everybody. So that's it.
So the way you are appreciating everyone, that's also
So the topic given to me is a very personal one. Admirable quality of your spouse.
Can I record it?
No video recording, no audio recording also. It's heard.
It's already
It's
done.
heard. I'm just kidding. So you must have heard, even in my icebreaker speech, I talked about Sujata, how I met her, and how we were friends, and then we got married and everything. So from that time onwards, one thing that I admire her was that she is very genuine person. She may get angry, she may shout at me, shout at kids, all that is there. But at the end of the day, she is doing all that for the good of the family. Is well, intentions are very good. And she is a very loving person. But genuinity comes from the ability of being able to love also. There may be flare-ups in everyday life with everyday day-to-day events, but at the end of the day, it all comes back to be for the good of the family, for our own family and even for the extended family. So that is one good quality that I admire in my spouse. Thank you.
I wish Suja was here to hear this speech. So I guess no one is left, right? So thank you all. Thank you for the wonderful opportunity for me to ask questions and all. So on to you.
What about you?
Yeah, you can also have. Why not? Yeah.
So we can use some supporting.
I only have the question. I had a few extra. So the next memories about rain.
Memories?
About rain.
Rain.
Rain. I love rain. It always makes me feel like I get a peaceful mind on a rainy day. I just gaze through the window, look at the raindrops sizzling down. It gives me that peacefulness and calmness in my mind. And when I was a kid, we had a little pond nearby, a small lake kind of thing, and there were lots of ducks swimming over there. So whenever there is rain, all these ducks will come together and then they'll all go together, right? So we'll be running around those ducks to catch it. They walk very slowly actually, they don't run fast like we see in the movies and all. It's so nice to hold them and so cozy and comfortable. We feel like having them always in our hands. So that's the memory that I have about the rain and all. And we have this, so when we are playing outside, we have those, I don't know what to say in English, those leaves, right? Chamberlain leaves. So we used to get it and then hold it above our head and run around like that. It was so much fun to see that water drop just staying on that leaf. It doesn't fall off like that, right? So that's my memory about rain.
It's like a poem.
It's like a poem.
All right, that was a very good table topic session. Everyone got a chance to talk and a lot of interesting topics. It was really good. Thank you. All right, so let's move on to the next session, which is the evaluation sessions. So I would like to invite our General Evaluator George to chair the session. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone again. So let us start the general evaluation session. Let us start with the prepared speeches. So I invite Deepu to evaluate Roy's speech.
Thank you for the opportunity. First of all, I just want to congratulate Roy for completing your level 1 in the dynamic leadership. And second, for the great choice of the book, Dale Carnegie's How to Win Friends and Influence People. I personally have read that book and I have practiced it I think almost 10 years back. But again, I have one point that I have learned new and which I will cover it soon. So you covered 3 points, okay, as a summary. 3 main areas that probably could be looked at improving your leadership style. One was, how do you avoid criticism while giving feedback or while communicating, while conversing with people? How do you avoid criticism and give probably more constructively, right? So that was one. Second one, how do you keep appreciating? Give sincere appreciation to folks. Which both are very important on the leadership. Whenever you are, whether you are a manager or a leader or even a peer, while giving the feedback, when you are getting a help from someone, important to give appreciation, a small thank you, as well as providing constructive feedback. The one that I learned new today is about not the commanding and asking questions, so how you ask questions and probably make them realize. So that is one thing that I have not noted down when I read that book, so thank you. Again, coming back to the purpose of the speech. The level 1 was more about understanding the leadership style. So I would have preferred you probably covering at a high level what are the 4 different leadership styles. That is the autocratic or authoritative style of leadership. That's the first one. So on the second side, you have the democratic, participative, or a consultative type of leadership. Third, you have the free rein, and fourth is the paternalistic. So you might need to, when you are giving the next page, you might want to probably look at what are the different leadership style and what is the style that you are actually following, and look at probably improving that. That is probably one recommendation. And then again, from general aspects, the transitions were good. The structure of the speech probably could be timing of the stress that you give for each of the points could be more probably I should say that it could be a little more even, because the first point, when we touch the 5th minute, you were struggling to move your second point. You rushed, I think, your second and third point. Right? And you were surprised, I think. Even I was surprised that it was 5 minutes then. So you might need to practice on how you give a generic purposeful speech, get into the second point, butt to hand, I think was very nice. Okay, so you covered a board, but I think you should probably do more practice so that you come to the second point a little more faster. Body gestures was good. I think you were using your hands very well. That helps, I think, to release that energy and I think be more appealing. The other one I noticed was eye contact. You are looking at the audience, but the impact of that could be much more dramatic, much more improved if you could stay on that person for a few more minutes, for a few more seconds. Because you are looking there, but I think it is not connecting. Okay, it's only looking at the audience, not connecting with the audience. And another point, I think when you are more looking at this side, and then I think you are looking on the ground. That shows that you probably are not confident. So I think be confident. I think you are looking connected. So that I think you could start looking at the body contact. Eye contact. And vocal variety was okay. I think that is something that we need to see how to improve the rate of speech and your pitch, right? I think that you could probably practice. It's not easy. It doesn't come to me, but I think I saw Priya doing it very well. I think in some of the points. So that is something that we should try, the vocal variety of this one. Pretty much I think that was it. I think, so timing, I think again, summary, overall, great topic. And congratulations for completing the first one. But I think as we move to the level 2s, level 3s, start looking at, I think, your eye contact a little more. And be on that person, because anyway it is only few persons, so it is much more easier. And you will start getting more attention from them if you can have that eye contact for a few more seconds. So you could look at, I think, because you had 3 clear points, right? So you could look at one point probably to one person or to a set of audience there, and the second point to the other one. It could be much more easier. When you have these kind of points, it is much more easier to do it. So if you practice, I think it will be. I think that is pretty much it from my side. Thank you.
Yeah. Next, Smita, if you make the evaluation of Priya's speech.
Overall, the speech was well taken and well delivered. And to begin with, you did engage the audience very well, because everybody was like, what is that topic going to be? And then you hopped on something that's very common, but people never think to talk about it. So it was a very good choice of topic. The transitions were good. The only feedback I have there was from a listener's perspective. It could have been structured such that you first talk about why you like it, and then when you said that it is considered as by the South Americans as some gift from God, sort of. You could have brought in the health benefits or given some more clarity around that thought as to why the ancient folks considered it relevant. And then when you brought up how the Europeans added all this fat and sugar into it and made it unhealthy, that could have maybe helped in the transition, but then we still enjoy it. But it's good to know both the positives and the negatives of chocolate, and I think it was very knowledgeable for the listener overall after listening to the whole speech. But I had to put these thoughts in my mind in a structured form, so maybe it may help your audience if the flow is. That's just my take on it. Your pitch was very good. It was very audible, but you were not like struggling to reach that voice level. One thing that I would also suggest as an improvement was a pauses. It may be that you are giving that pause to get people's attention, but sometimes I felt like maybe in your mind you're like, maybe you by-hearted the speech and you're thinking about what is the topic. So there was a little bit of like the audience wanting to help you to like try to go